Alright, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Randy with RTS Mobile Gaming, bringing you an awesome Diablo 4 video today. We're going to spend a minute or two here checking out this fantastic footage where we actually are using our much improved landslide build to dominate, drop 80 to 150,000 damage hits on these enemy elites, really plowing through this nightmare dungeon. I believe this is level 19, absolutely dominating it. This same build I actually just cleared a few minutes ago. The nightmare tier 4 difficulty has been unlocked. I did clear that quest dungeon and we are rocking and rolling. So the way this build works, right, if you've seen my leveling videos, this is similar but a much improved version. You essentially would like to apply all kinds of slows and vulnerability debuffs and immobilization debuffs on the enemy to trigger tons of damage bonuses from your landslide skills, okay? From the items, you're going to have items that give your landslide double strike. You're going to have items that give your landslide dramatically higher crit damage, okay? A lot of earthen crit damage, earthen slows, and also an enormous amount of tankiness, which we'll get into in just a second here. In about 30 seconds, I'm going to switch over and show you the actual skill and item optimizations that we want to rock and roll with. Get excited, folks, because this build absolutely dominates. I cannot stress enough. The damage is insane. It lives forever. I love it. Okay, so make sure you like and sub if you feel like this video has been helpful so far. We will go through the build right now. Get excited. I'm going to switch over. Thank you. Alright folks, we are now going to talk about the legendary affixes and the skills that you're going to want to be running on your landslide rock and roll druid, baby. Here we go. So first things first, the glove affix I'm currently using gives bonus critical strike damage up to 90% when it's on your two-hand weapon. This is the one you want on your weapon. My gear is not optimized. I'm level 58. I'm still working on it, okay? This is what you want on the weapon, okay? The next thing that you want, one of the most important parts of this build, is the one that's currently on my weapon. This should probably be on your amulet, okay? The Landslide's Earth Pillar Double Strike. This is going to cause your landslide to hit twice, and the second hit's going to deal bonus damage. On my two-hander, it's going to be 20%, right? 12 to 24% range. It's currently rolled at 20, so this is going to dramatically increase the damage this build does. These two things are absolutely key to making this build happen. If you don't have high crit damage and you don't have landslide double strike, run something else, okay? You can probably use it, but you really can't clear higher than maybe Nightmare Dungeon level 10, right? You're going to be stuck, okay? Once you have this, I was clearing level 20 today. We just unlocked tier 4 Nightmare, ready to go. The next important thing to talk about here is going to be survivability. As you start to push into the higher Nightmare strength dungeons, you're going to want to have the ability for your basic strikes to reduce the damage you take. This is super key, okay? This could be on any piece of gear. Doesn't really matter. All right? The next item here is going to be super duper key, okay? This is going to be the ability for your earth skills to slow the enemy, all right? This is very important because you deal bonus damage to targets that are slowed, all right? In addition to that, and that's through your skills that we'll talk about in a minute. But in addition to that, if you are able to find a great weapon like the one I have here, this is going to give me plus almost 110% damage to enemies who are slowed / crowd controlled, okay? It's going to give additional bonus damage if they're made vulnerable, which happens from Storm Strike, and they're going to get additional damage dealt to them when they are injured or below 80% HP. Both of these are very, very key in addition to slowing the enemy, all right? Next, let's talk about the fantastic buff on my legs, the imprinted, non-imprinted, sorry, Earthen Bulwark legendary affix that gives you 6 additional seconds and the ability to replenish your Earth Shield, okay? Super key. Because as we'll talk about in the skills in about 10 seconds here, Earth Shield is one of your main mobility talents combined with Trample. All right. Next, on to the amulet. Currently, I happen to have Earth Strike deals bonus critical strike damage to crowd control enemies. This is really big. This obviously complements the slow. It obviously complements my weapon. So I would say having this on the amulet is not a bad idea. You can either have this on the amulet or you can have the landslide double strike on the amulet. Either one is going to be fine, okay? Next to last, the ability for my basic strikes to cause my core skills to deal more damage. This is the big deal, okay? If I hit somebody twice while I'm generating some spirit with Storm Strike, I'm going to take reduced damage. due to Storm Strike, I'm going to deal bonus damage to the enemy with my core skills. The big hits are going to be phenomenal. All right. And the last and one of the most important legendary affixes that you want to have equipped somewhere is going to be the ability for your core skills when they hit 5 or more folks to regenerate your spirit. This is super key because obviously Landslide is an expensive skill, and with the skill points we're going to be putting in, it'll cost 9% more spirit than normal. Therefore, you want the ability to regenerate spirit and really plow through the mobs. Okay, into the skills, ladies and gentlemen, and the abilities. Okay. First, Storm Strike is very key to this build. As you saw with my helmet affix, I'm going to reduce the damage I receive. Did I show you the helmet affix? I'm going to show you the helmet affix. I think I showed it already, yes. I'm going to reduce the damage I receive by 20% here. Storm Strike is going to reduce the damage I receive by an additional 25% for 3 more seconds, or well, 3 seconds, and they overlap. So basically, every time I Storm Strike with that buff, I get a 45% damage mitigation bonus, which is amazing, okay? It'll also immobilize the enemies and cause them to be vulnerable. This is super duper key. Landslide is your main damage dealer in this build. Max it out as much as you can. Get as much gear as you can that gives bonus landslide points. This is the killer. Make it happen, okay? You're going to go ahead and grab Enhanced Landslide to immobilize the enemies, and you'll go ahead and grab Primal Landslide. That way, when you do stun the enemies with your poison grabs or with your landslide immobilizations, you will generate terror motes that you can use to guarantee critical strike on the enemy, okay? Heart of the Wild is great, 1 point in there. Really, you want 3 points in Wild Impulses. This is going to increase your spirit cost, but also increase your damage of landslide dramatically. This is super important. Do not skip this, okay? From there, we're going to go into the defensive tree, folks. We'll go ahead and put some points in Earth and Bulwark. I happen to have this maxed out, plus an additional 3 skills from my gear. This is really, really key. I love this ability so much because it gives such a large barrier. The barrier lasts 9 seconds. I'm unstoppable when the barrier is up. I literally cannot be stopped, and every time I kill something, I regenerate my barrier a little bit. So basically, every 16 seconds, I get 9 seconds of invulnerability. Okay? I also get great fortification from Earth and Bulwark, which is super duper key because fortification really drives some of my survivability and damage output. Okay? You want to point in Debilitating Roar to give yourself a damage debuff against the enemy. So you're going to debuff their damage dealt by 70%. Okay, you're going to also give yourself a heal, and you're going to fortify yourself when you cast it. This is going to pair very nicely with the Spirit Boon over here. Okay, fortify for 10% of your maximum life when you use a defensive skill. That's a big deal because both of the skills we just looked at, Earth and Bulwark and Debilitating Roar, are defensive skills. Now I have multiple things on the bar that give me, they already give me a ton of fortification to begin with, and I'm just going to keep giving myself fortification. When I go over my health cap, it's going to become a barrier that blocks actual damage. It's really, really nice. Okay? 3 points in Ancestral Fortitude, reduce the non-physical damage you take, and then 3 points in Vigilance. Basically, 6 seconds after I use the defensive skill, I take 15% reduced damage. So if I'm getting attacked by non-physical damage, I'm going to take 45% reduced damage from my Storm Strike. I'm going to take 30% reduced damage based on using defensive skills. And I'm going to absolutely dominate because I'm going to reduce my damage so much, okay? Which you need. You need that much damage reduction to be a melee class in the more difficult tiers. Then you want 1 point in Poison Creeper, okay? With 1 point in Enhanced Poison Creeper and 1 point in Brutal Poison Creeper. This is going to give you 20% increased critical strike chance against enemies who are poisoned, okay, by your Poison Creep ability, and it is also going to immobilize enemies for 3 seconds, which will trigger all that bonus damage on your weapon. It'll also give you points towards your terror motes for your landslide damage, okay? From there, excuse me, woo, happy Friday. From there, we're going to go ahead and grab a point in Trample. This is going to be a big mobility skill for you. You will be able to charge in and knock people back, blow them aside, okay, and get out of there if you're getting attacked and destroyed. Or you can just go in there and have some fun, smack them into the wall, knock them down, and give yourself some more terror motes, okay? Trample, bonus damage here, no big deal. Natural Trample is great. This is going to give you some more fortification, okay? All I keep talking about is fortification, fortification. As a druid, fortification is how you win. You must have it. From there, we're going to grab Crushing Earth, which is going to give us 15% bonus damage to enemies who are crowd controlled, okay? And then we'll put 3 points in Stone Guard. So when my fortification is over 50% of my maximum life, my Earth skills deal another 12% damage. Really, really big deal, okay? We do nothing in the ultimate tree for the actual skills, but we are going to get some of the passives here. Okay, so Defiance is going to give us bonus damage. Natural Disaster is going to give us bonus damage. Okay, Resonance is going to give us more bonus damage when you use Earth skill right after you use Storm Strike, which you'll do all the time. And then lastly, Circle of Life is going to give you some sustainability in case you're fighting an opponent that is so tough you actually are losing life and you know, losing your fortification and your life. So you could take 3 points out of this if you wanted, if you didn't have enough skill points to get it. You really, this is a nice to have, it's not a must have, okay? And lastly, the passive we're going to have is going to be called Nature's Fury. This is going to cause my Earth skills to trigger a free Storm skill. You could also, by the way, use Perfect Storm, okay? Because your, you could also use, not Perfect Storm, you could also use Earth and Might. Oh my god, I got my cough coming in hot today. You can also use Earth and Might, but this is a little bit more RNG based. When it does trigger, you will have a crazy amount of damage that happens. However, I like the more sustained, more reliable damage output that's going to come from Nature's Fury. Okay, so that is the build. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Like and sub. Landslide, folks. Randy out.